Polar Express back to fall, but will we see the northern lights tonight? We'll let you know what we're tracking right here on the Weather Extra.
Plus, we're saving you money. We have tips on how to keep heating costs down while staying comfortable amid cooler temperatures. Plus, we're taking a closer look at some of the thousands of pictures you sent us of the northern lights last night.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
All right, Tania back with us today. And Tania, what a show last night. You know, we saw it last year, and it's just like all of a sudden you start getting all these photos, and it's like, look up, everyone. It's the Northern Lights.
And it just catches everyone by guard. But I think it just brings so much joy overall. So I just love seeing everyone's pictures.
Yeah, you don't see it too often this far south, but it has been another rare situation. We've been in a solar cycle. We've seen increased solar activity. This is a live look from one of the cameras at Centerville, one of the First Alert Sky Vision cameras, and last night we had some incredible views here from these cameras in Bibb County. Let me just show you this one picture here. This is what the camera in Eolan looked like late last night if you joined us on the news. But the cameras actually, Matt's going to have a nice explainer about this coming up here on the show about why you can see better looking through the camera. So even if it is faint, if you just look to the north this evening, and you might still see a faint aurora, the chances there tonight, just based on what we're seeing right now, I don't know if we're going to see this kind of show. We may have seen the strongest, what we call CME, happen last night. There were a series of those. If you look at activity coming from the sun, often at times throughout these solar cycles, we'll see all this plasma from the sun. It interacts with the Earth's magnetosphere, and that's what sets off the colors. But on a planetary scale, there's an index we use. It's called the K Planetary Index to help kind of gauge the magnitude of these events as they happen. And on a scale of 0 to 10, well, this briefly jumped over 8 last night. And that's the thing, we can get within these windows, but these little unexpected fluctuations happen, and then suddenly for us, when we're kind of right there on that borderline to be able to see it, we can actually capture the northern lights. But here's what it looks like tonight and right now based on what I'm seeing. The latest update from the Space Weather Prediction Center was that the K index was at a 6, and it was a G3 magnitude event. So that means it's a lot lower than this time last night. We'll see in case there is a surprise fluctuation, but this is going to be the best viewing window next few hours through this evening. I think later tonight activity continues to settle down, but it could always, in the weeks and months ahead, you know, we'll watch and see if that possibility happens again. But northern lights still a possibility. We'll keep an eye to the sky. But the big story weather-wise for us overnight tonight, some patchy fog will be a possibility through tomorrow morning. It could impact those visibility levels, so give yourself a little drive time, extra drive time early in the day. Good news is we won't have a major frost concern or major freeze. Maybe a little bit of frost far northeast, but temperatures in general in the 40s tomorrow morning. And then warmer afternoons coming up, and the next chance of rain, that is going to arrive for next weekend. We're going to be watching that long range closely, but as far as sky watching conditions, certainly a nice evening out there. As you can see, temperatures, they're cooling off around 51 at 9 o'clock and showing 50 degrees there at 10. And the sky, we've had some clouds, a breeze today. That's that milder air making that transition back in here. Basically, fall is back, and that's what we're going to be feeling here over the next few days. Chilly mornings, warm afternoons, highs back to near 70 degrees for tomorrow. And we did have that brief wind out of the south today, bringing back some of that milder air. Tomorrow, a little bit of a breeze out of the northwest, but it won't be as windy or as breezy tomorrow as it was today. And that's one of the reasons why a little bit calmer in the morning. We're going to be talking about some patchy fog there early in the day. But how about these high temperatures moving ahead? Yeah, through early next week, we're talking highs in the 70s, and we'll be taking a closer look at that long-range data regarding the rain chances into next week.
Well, last night was fantastic. We were able to see the northern lights across the entire southeast. You may have saw the sky glow red at times, and it's all because of space weather. And space weather focuses on the energy from the sun and how it emits that energy to the earth. That can sometimes be dangerous because when you get these solar storms, these geomagnetic storms, impacting the earth, that they're very significant. Sometimes they can create issues with power grids and satellites, and that can cause some issues. So that's why we analyze this, and that's why they call it space weather. Space weather is all about how the sun impacts the Earth. So what happens is you get the solar wind of heat and charged particles emitted by the sun just travels through space. And sometimes these particles will make its way towards Earth, but Earth has a force field, a shield that protects it. It's a magnetic field that protects us from most of those particles that are emitted by the sun. And when you get these big waves, these solar storms, that's what they're analyzing. And when they see these things happen in real time, that's when they issue these watches. That's what happened yesterday. They saw 3 waves. 2 of those waves impacted us last night. And the third wave, the more significant one, was supposed to impact us today. Well, what had happened was those first 2 waves were stronger than predicted, and that's why we were able to see the northern lights as far south as here. And so when you get these solar storms, they're extra charged particles, they reach the Earth's poles, and that's when you see those beautiful colors with the aurora. So you get these collisions, and it's all about 2 different things, oxygen and nitrogen, and how those particles interact is what gives you those particular colors. So when you start seeing red and green in the night sky with the northern lights, it's because it's interacting with oxygen. When you start seeing the pink and the blue, that's when it's interacting with nitrogen. And so what happens is when you see the red, pinks, and blues, that's usually indication of a strong geomagnetic storm. And that's what happened last night. And usually when it comes to red and green, it's right around or above 150 miles. So usually this is what you're going to see in the lower latitudes where we live. But if you live farther north in the northern latitudes, say towards Canada, of course the North Pole, you're going to see maybe blue and pink colors because they're interacting with nitrogen, and it's at a much lower level, around 60 miles above the surface. So with that said, with the aurora, with the northern lights, the shape of that depends on the viewing position, the Earth's magnetic field. Once again, there's another chance we could see it this evening, so just look north, away from city lights, and it's most ideal to view through your camera on your phone. And if you got some pictures of it, once again, feel free to submit it through the WBRC First Alert Weather app.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle, and I've got that kickoff forecast for you for game days this Saturday. And it looks great, I have to say, as we look at our first game. North Texas at UAB. North Texas coming to Birmingham. Kickoff at 1 p.m. Temperatures in the low 70s. Plenty of sunshine. Great game day forecast for that one. It looks great also as number 11 Oklahoma takes on number 4 Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And it looks like the kickoff is at 2:30 p.m. with temperatures that kick off in the upper 70s under a partly cloudy sky. Then we have Kennesaw State at Jack State. 7 p.m. kickoff. Mostly clear night sky with temperatures in the low 70s. I mean, this weekend looks great. If you're not going to be watching any games or out at any football games, well, you're in for a treat no matter what you decide to do. Maybe you just want to get out, go to the park, maybe go outside and take a view of all these beautiful fall colors across the state of Alabama. Well, that's a quick look at that kickoff forecast. We'll keep you up to date on rain chances next week. We take a full look at that 10-day forecast in just a bit. But earlier this week, you probably turned on the heat for the first time in months. I know I did. When you do run the heat, you know the cost can add up very quickly. So what can you do to stay warm without burning your wallet? Ted Lindner has some advice.
As temperatures keep getting cooler, millions of Americans may be tempted to tick up their thermostats a few degrees. But according to the results of a recent study from the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, the average cost to heat a home is expected to rise by roughly 7.6% this winter. It's prompting Lisa Aiulo, architecture professor at Pennsylvania State University, to recommend tips to try and prevent financial strain. For starters, keep your thermostat at an optimal setting.
So recommendations are to have the set point of between 68 and 70 degrees.
It's also critical to keep your heating system and filters properly maintained.
If you're running your system with dirty filters, it can reduce the efficiency and result in the system working harder and or costing you more to run it.
Meanwhile, Use window treatments to your advantage.
If you have blinds or curtains or drapes that you can draw across at night, that will help to keep the heat in your home. If you have south-facing windows, I would recommend opening up those drapes and letting that sun in, because that will help to heat the home.
You can go a step further by air sealing your home and adding insulation to attic space.
There are throughout your home likely little gaps that you never even know are there unless you feel a draft. And they are allowing air to come in, and you're also potentially losing heat from your home.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Explore the wonders of weather with Weather in the Classroom. Scan the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Tania Michelle here. Well, in Taiwan, they're dealing with damage left behind by what was once one-time Typhoon Fenghuan. This is what some of the aftermath looked like. You can see shipping containers floating down a flooded river. Thousands of people evacuated the coast of Taiwan after and really ahead of the storm. More than 1,000 homes have been flooded after the area received more than 25 inches of rain Tuesday. Fenghuan is now a tropical storm and is expected to move out in the Pacific Ocean after hitting the southern tip of Taiwan. One of the first teams on the ground helping with search and rescue after Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica is back in the United States. The Los Angeles County Urban International Search and Rescue Team is back home after spending days in Jamaica helping people recover. Ed Lascos was there when they arrived.
Homecoming for LA County Fire's International Urban Search and Rescue Team.
It was a heck of a time, though, huh?
It was, sir.
But look at how great this is. With
Oh
your
yeah, I
family.
got all the kids here and the wife and family and
Good.
everything.
We're happy you're home safe.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
They're just back from their latest daring mission, this time Jamaica.
Making things easier for them with taking the trees off their houses, taking the telephone poles, clearing roads so they could get some of that much needed help over there.
Melissa, a Cat 5 blasting through Jamaica last month, winds of 185 miles per hour, one of the strongest hurricanes on record. That sends the Urban Search and Rescue Team rushing in, boots on the ground, doing anything they can just to help. Cutting through these huge palm trees blown down like sticks, reopening roads, delivering food to those stranded high in the villages, all on an island with widespread devastation.
It was eye-opening just because you see a bunch of destruction that has gone down like blocks down the street due to the flooding and everything. Wildfires, it just goes down to the foundation.
Now it is mission accomplished for these 34 team members, their 4 specially trained search dogs, and their thousands of pounds of equipment and gear, and for all the other emotions from their family and their friends welcoming back their heroes.
We get a little bit like worried and scared, but luckily they're very good at calming us down and just letting us know that everything is okay. They're all safe.
All right, let's check out a live look here from 6 Mile. And right now, well, yeah, not seeing the northern lights. We had quite the view last night across the area. But at this point, it looks like we may have seen the peak during the overnight last night. We'll keep a watch out because these systems, as you start to see these forecasts for the northern lights, it's always sort of in the vicinity. You see these little peaks in activity, and that can lead to brighter periods there. But right now, well, we're still looking at what we call as far as geomagnetic storm level on a 0 to 5 scale, a level 3, and on that K index on a scale of 0 to 10, it's about a 6. Now this value, we want to see that around an 8+ to really have a good look at the northern lights. But looking at the forecast for this evening, later on tonight, the forecast says, well, it's probably going to wane as the night goes on. So we're sort of in that best viewing window right now, but we'll keep an eye to the sky. And the forecast, it called for back up to a G4 magnitude event and KP level 7. That was a forecast last night, though. 6 to 7 ended up being an 8+. So that's why we had quite the show. I saw some photos, some folks sending me pictures from Florida, Mobile, of the northern lights on my social media feeds. Just absolutely incredible. But right now, the wind is starting to back off. It picked up today. It was a little breezy out there, but the wind speed's settling down. And basically what's happened is all that cold, dry Arctic air now modifying. We've got a more seasonal fall air for Alabama making a return. And tomorrow morning, some patchy fog early in the day, maybe a few clouds. So I'm concerned we could see some foggy weather during the morning. That's the next big thing, giving that first alert. And then by lunchtime, you can see we're up in the close to 70 degrees. Nice, comfortable afternoon tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of 70s here coming up over the next few days. One of the next big things. And then Friday morning, you can see 40s. So during the morning hours, no concern about freezing temperatures for several days here. It looks like we're going to have mornings staying well above freezing well into next week. And then by Friday afternoon, temperatures topping out in the 70s. The weekend, at this point, it looks dry, but I'm watching the system, and I talked a little about this on Weather Extra yesterday. There's an upper trough over the southwestern U.S., and sometimes systems that far southwest can have an impact on how well the models sort of handle how things progress in the long range for us. I think next week we start to see more of a southwest flow aloft. What that will mean, more clouds moving in at times by Monday and Tuesday, and a chance we could see some showers, I think, by early next Tuesday morning. Now, this won't end the drought, but November, this time of the year, is very notorious. We can have some cloudy days and very damp conditions. That hasn't really happened so far, but we'll be watching next week for the possibility maybe a round of showers by early Tuesday, and then towards the end of next week, maybe another round of some clouds, showers perhaps around Thursday and Friday. Some of the model data picking up on that, GFS, Euro, some of those long-range models that we look at. So we're just watching to see if we get more of a southwest flow pattern. That would be a good thing with respect to the drought to help us out. So let's watch and see how that sort of develops over the next few days as we look at the long-range forecast. But next 24 hours, again tonight, low temperatures, or at least this evening, we're cooling into the 50s. Actual lows around 43, some foggy weather out the door tomorrow morning. That gives way to a beautiful day. Afternoon highs around 71 degrees. And with all the events coming up, as Tania was talking about, homecoming Saturday and some college games going on, nice weather with those afternoon highs in the 70s. But the weekend has really trended very nicely here with those highs. But again, we're in a significant drought. And next week, a chance that we could see a few showers coming back by Tuesday morning. Maybe another chance of rain late Wednesday and into Thursday of next week. But the models have really struggled as we go to Tania next week. They really push that system beyond the weekend. But I really think one of the difficulties, a lot of times we see the pattern sort of try to get resolved. We got a system over the southwest, a little bit of a struggle right now, but we are seeing a bit more consistency that by Tuesday we could see a little bit of rain, and then again towards the end of next week.
Yeah, Wes, and I think it's the perfect time to take our viewers beyond that 10-day forecast. Let's take a look at how temperatures are looking. We're looking closer to the end of the month of November and around Thanksgiving, so I know many of you want a first glance at what that Thanksgiving forecast looks like here across central Alabama and across the southeast. Well, taking you beyond the 10-day forecast, starting off with November the 20th, it looks like we're seeing above average temperatures, more 70s for the afternoon and early morning temperatures, 40s and more like 50s. But look at November the 22nd, I'm seeing some mid to upper 70s and 80s along the coast. Overnight temperatures fairly mild. We bring in the 24th, more 70s across the southeast. The 25th might be slightly cooler and seeing some 50s for the early morning. And by Thanksgiving, it doesn't look too bad. I'm seeing upper 60s, maybe just shy of 70 degrees for Thanksgiving afternoon. Now keep in mind, this is beyond that 10-day forecast and things can and possibly will change. But overall, above average temperatures are expected. As far as rain chances, we look pretty unsettled with on and off showers as we get closer to Thanksgiving Day. We'll talk more about that Thanksgiving forecast later this week on First Alert Weather Extra. For now, we'll be back after the break.
Teachers, promote literacy in your class by scheduling a book reading with WBRC. Scan the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
All right, Tania, I was just reading an update from the Space Weather Prediction Center, and they're still holding us in a watch for one of those higher-end geomagnetic events tonight because the last what they call CME has arrived. So we're just waiting to see if we'll have a show tonight. So
I'm going to look during my dinner break. So let's hope that it happens while I'm on break.
Yeah, we could see some of the views here from Red Mountain. It was absolutely incredible. But I invite you, go to our website. If you go to our weather page, you see all the photos that you've sent in. Every time you send those in on the app, they get posted on our website. So you can just go through. It's just mesmerizing. You see all the colors. It really is. Yeah.
So cool. Well, I mean, the weather this week and through the weekend doesn't look too bad. But next week, there could be some wet weather around.
It will be interesting. We've all seen this so many times in Alabama in November. You get into these patterns where it's kind of overcast, a little bit rainy, and it seems like we might try to see a pattern flip next week. There's just not a guarantee at this point. Sooner or later, this pattern's got to break, but it's tough to break out of these droughts. And again, we're going to have some very dry conditions. Again, afternoons, though, like you say, I mean, some nice weekends. Take advantage of the nice weekends while they last because you know it's just a matter of time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to have some colder weather. Let's go ahead and check out some of these photos and the Northern Lights. What a show last night. But this is what it looked like over Anniston.
Oh my goodness. Thanks to Felix for sending that picture into us. Just absolutely stunning.
And this was Rivermont. That's in northern Alabama near Florence right there. Thanks to Stephen McAdams for that lovely view. Lots of views there in North Alabama.
I mean, listen, Wes, we have viewers all over the state. This one this one's right actually near Straight Mountain. How beautiful is this one? Aniana and Asheville. Gorgeous. People that are further from the city had the best sights of this. You know, we try to say get away from those city lights if you can. That one's from Melissa Weaver. And this one, another gorgeous picture, Wes.
Yeah, we got Blount County in the house here from David Hughes. Thank you, David, for sharing. And how about what it looked like at Mount Olive Valley Farm? This is in Aniana, another Blount County photo. And we want to thank Lake King for that photo.
What a cool name, too. What about this one? This one is out of Brookwood. Thanks to James for sending that one into us.
And what it looked like on Smith Lake as seen from Bremen. Thanks to Steve Sims for sharing this lovely photo. Hey, we have more.
There's more. This one, Northern Lights, looked over Clanton. This is the last one sent in from Sandra Heflin. Thank you all so much for taking the time to use our First Alert Weather app and for sending those pictures in. If you see photos, or really if you see the Northern Lights tonight, take a photo of it, scan this QR code to download the First Alert Weather app and submit those photos. Plus, the weather app is used for so many other things too.
I know I'd mentioned on social media, I said we've seen the snow, we've seen the freezing temperatures, and now we've seen the Northern Lights this week. And someone said, how about a partridge in a pear tree? I said, well, someone sent me a photo today. So, all right, everyone, listen, we'll see you tonight. We'll have lots of updates on the chill and rain chances beginning at 9.